Your mission is to create a world where people are more connected and people have the power to share, and you're aiming to connect everyone. You can't just stop at the folks that are here in North America or the folks that are on the internet right now, right? Because we are actually in the minority worldwide. The question is how do you get those next 4.1 billion people who have never been connected online and making sure that they can get the same benefits and the tools and experiences that you and I are purview to as a result of having connectivity. So Mark, the team, myself broadly are spending time on how to break down things like the affordability of keeping people from being online, how to increase the awareness of what being online can actually bring to you and change the lives of not just yourself but also your community and your family. And at me, I'm on the ground floor with a lot of the developers and entrepreneurs out there, around the world that are doing that for their community and for people. And then you got to be patient. I can't tell you over the course of the last 2 to 3 years or 4 years I've had the honor of knowing him, how many times we sat down, probably at the sweet shop. I like ice cream and cookies, that's okay. But probably at the sweet shop and had a conversation about, no, it's not time to go make that move. No, it's not time to do X, Y, and Z. You need to stay here and continue to be good and be good. One of the things that made me so happy last week was to see Jay post a picture of the fact that he was able to get the Year Up interns, I think 11 of them that are at Facebook right now, and to meet with the CEO and the COO of Instagram, one of the fastest growing technology companies. And the reason why Jay is now in that circle of amazing people is because he was patient, because he stayed consistent and was good. And then he was able to, once again, bust open that door and give access to the now 11 interns or so that came in to meet the CEO and COO of Instagram. The last one is, I think, the most important piece, right? And that's all about that this is so much bigger than you. Although you guys have worked really, really hard, today is your day and we should celebrate the heck out of that. You have to understand that this is so much bigger than you. I'm a man of science. I study computer science and electrical engineering. My mentors and the people that I look to are technologists. But one quote that I've had with me my entire life that continues to resonate with me is from a man of science that actually is talking about giving back to people, and it's Albert Einstein. Quote simple, only a life lived for others is a life worthwhile. Only a life lived for others is a life worthwhile. So whatever venue you find yourself in, whether it's technology, whether it's sports, pick your favorite industry, you have to understand that life and a meaningful life is always bigger than you.
All right, so let's get to it. Aimee, welcome. Really appreciate you joining us today and sharing your story. And I think people inside will really appreciate it. So we'll get right to it. You've got such an interesting background. I'd love to talk about it and love to talk about sort of where we are today as well. So I think it'd be really interesting just for people to hear your background and how you got to where you are today. Just give us that sort of, you know, a short version of what you're doing and how you got to where you are today. That'd be really interesting.
Yeah, sounds good. Well, first and foremost, like, I appreciate you inviting me and getting a few moments to just like chat with folks. I'll give you the shorter version of the background. I think it's always important to know kind of where you came from. So I always have to acknowledge my parents, who are Nigerian immigrants, made their way to the United States back in the 70s. Made their way to Kansas of all places. And, you know, I was raised in the South. So my parents made the decision to go and teach in the Black communities. My mom taught at HBCU, North Carolina A&T State, raised me, my sister, my younger brother in Greensboro, North Carolina, and fell in love with technology while I was in North Carolina. I think hanging around A&T's campus and seeing a bunch of engineers and mathematicians and physicists that looked like me planted the seed, whether I knew it or not. But I ended up studying computer science and electrical engineering in undergrad. So I did that at Yale up in Connecticut. And then took my first job with IBM, who sent me, of all places, to Tucson, Arizona, where I knew nobody. But nonetheless started my career as an engineer there and spent a number of years working on storage systems, and had a couple epiphany moments, which I'm happy to talk about, which just led me and said, hey, it's time to move on from engineering. I wanted to transition over to the business side of the house. So I went to business school, which is what brought me to the Bay Area. Did 2 years at Stanford, then went back to IBM, where I was an advanced business development professional, leveraging my engineering background to try to find kind of business opportunities for the IP and the research that the company was doing around the world around storage technology. And then 10 years ago, made the fateful leap to go from that 400,000 person company down to, what was in my head, a pretty small startup of about 1,000 people called Facebook. And the last 10 years has been a ride with Facebook and Facebook's journey. It has, I joined on the business side of the house, but more recently helped lead new product experimentation for the entire company. So I've transitioned back to the engineering and the product side of my brain, and have enjoyed every kind of moment of it.
Nice. You touched on a couple of things about how you fell in love with tech, right? Can you talk a little bit more about like how you fell in love with tech and the transition into business, and how did you know that was like the path that you wanted?
Yeah, I mean, I think I would be disingenuous if I said that I knew exactly what the path looked like that I wanted or that I was going after.